Welcome to Webinar Wednesdays. Today we are going to do just an Ask Shonda, right? So if you are not new here, if you've been joining my lives in any capacity, I used to almost every day get on live and just for a few hours just take you guys' questions. And just so you know, there are no rules in terms of the questions that you guys are able to ask. You can ask about any credit or finance topic, okay? Now, I would say like the only rules is I'm not an attorney. I won't give you investment advice. And yeah, so pretty anything about credit, it could be about a bankruptcy, it could be about a late payment. It doesn't matter, okay? So I will, as I stated, I will start by taking questions from our VIP members of Credit Academy. And then I will also rope it throughout. So what I thought about when I was gone, I'll take like, let's say two or three questions from the VIP members, and then take a question from just the regular YouTube chat, okay? And then that's how we're gonna do it, all right? All right, so, and by the way, for the VIP members, I'm not gonna always be able to bring theirs on the screen. I'll just read them aloud, okay? All right, so I don't have to say the name. All right, VIP members, I just posted at the top of the Ask Shonda page under the VIP portal. Make sure you are putting your comment under there. It's a post that I just posted. Let me go ahead and pin it, and then I'll be following this. I'll be following this post the entire time. Okay, guys. So if you have questions and that I haven't answered, or if I don't see you, make sure you put it in there. Yes, it's the Circle app. Yep. All right. First of all, I just want to thank y'all for y'all patience, because thank you so much. Y'all are everything. All right, so I'll just start taking questions. So the first question, perfect. So the first question that I got was, once a creditor sends a 1099, can they still report the debt on your credit reports? Really good question. So whenever you receive a 1099 from a creditor, typically that means that the account was charged off. After the account was charged off, they did not recuperate the payment. Rather, that was them selling it to a collection agency, and the collection agency tried to get you to pay and you just didn't. So what they have to do by law, because they wrote it off, they have to then send you what's called a 1099, and you have to file that on your taxes. Now, the bad news about that is when it comes to 1099s, it doesn't have any effect on our credit reports. Those are just two separate things. There are two separate systems, and they don't commingle. The 1099 is for tax purposes, accounting purposes, whereas the account being charged off, it still is able to factually be reported as charged off on your credit report, because it is still technically a charge off. Yeah, you guys can ask any question. All right. Let me make it bigger. Okay, I can see it now. Yes. All right. So how do we get in the VIP chat? So to sign up for Credit Academy, it's this link right here that's scrolling on by. But we have our own separate community. It's outside of like social network. All right. So can you go in depth about the first date of delinquency? Is it the first day that you miss your 30-day payment, then you become current, or you have to miss 30, 60, and 90, so 3 consecutive late payments in a row, and so forth? How do I determine the date of first delinquency? Really, really good question, and really important that everyone knows what the date of first delinquency is. So before I tell you how to find it, I want to first define what a date of first delinquency is. When it comes to any derogatory account on our credit report, it has to have what's called a date of first delinquency, okay? You'll see this sometimes abbreviated as DOFD. And why that date is so important is because that date determines how long that account can stay on your credit report. There's a legal reporting limit for every bad account on our credit reports, which is 7 years. that 7 years does not start until the date of first delinquency. Okay, so that date is important because it determines how long that account again is on our credit report. How you find that date is it is the last payment that equated to that account becoming defaulted. Or a better way to explain it is, for example, if the account is charged off, right? Before the account was charged off, there are usually about 3 consecutive late payments. So it'll be like a 30-day late payment, a 60-day late payment, and a 90-day late payment. And then that 4th month, you'll typically start to see CO, or C, right, which stands for charged off. The date of first delinquency would be that very first late payment of the sequence that led to the account going default. I really hope I explained that in a way that you guys can understand. Actually, I believe I may have some slides with an example on there. Let me know if that makes sense, because I can explain it a little more, and also I can probably find an example, but it's the first late payment that led to the default. So for example, if you had a late payment, right, and then you ended up bringing the account back current after you initially had this first late payment, and then maybe at the month that you brought the account current, you ended up being late 3 more times after that, which led to the account being charged off. The date of first delinquency would not be basically the date of first delinquency cannot have any on-time payments after it. Okay, so it'll be the first late payment in the sequence of late payments that led to the account becoming being defaulted, or being closed by the lenders, that led to the derogatory status. Yeah, I'm sure I can find a example. In the Ask Shonda section, Melinda. In the Ask Shonda section. All right. So we are in the process of selling. We're in the process of selling a home and buying another one, and we have ran into a problem with late payments, reporting on our credit that's not supposed to be there. We got behind on one mortgage payment that was paid in the following month, which caused us to have a reoccurring late payment for several months. But we did a loan modification, which brought us current on a mortgage. And within the terms of this modification, we were told that the lates would be cleared up and would not reflect on our credit report, which they are still reporting. Okay, so let me summarize that. She's in the middle of purchasing a home. She ended up amassing a few late payments on her credit report on her mortgage loan. However, her mortgage company allowed her to get what's called a mortgage modification, which is just a restructuring of your loan. And they promised that they would delete or remove the late payments, but they did not, right? So she's asking, with all that being said, how would you move forward in this situation? And also our current mortgage company. Okay, so the only thing that you're able to do, because you are at the liberty of the mortgage company removing the late payments off your credit report, you're at their liberty. Being that you were technically late, they don't owe you it to clear it from the credit bureaus. Therefore, you don't have a dispute unless you have it in writing that they agreed to remove them, and they did not. So if you have it in writing, what I would do is I would send that letter that they agreed to remove the late payments, and I would send it to the credit bureaus to request that they remove it. If they do not remove it, then I'll file a CFPB complaint against the mortgage company for dishonest loan terms. Okay, but unfortunately, that the only thing that you're able to do is, hope that they'll remove it, because you can't. There's no law that requires them to remove the late payment, even with the loan modification. But if they promised you that, they do have to adhere to whatever they promised. So let me see. Okay, let me take a question from the tube. All right, so I forgot I ain't talking on the mic. Or am I? Nope, I'm good. All right. So I have an eviction with no judgment, but a collection company is trying to collect on it and increase the amount like 3 times a month. It's different amounts on 2 credit agencies, and they dates are different. Okay, so what you have is what's considered inconsistent reporting. Okay, so anytime an account is reporting to more than one credit bureau, the law requires that the information is consistent. So whatever information that your the collection agency sent to Experian, they are supposed to echo those same sentiments to TransUnion and Equifax, whichever one I didn't say. All right. So not every account has to report on all three credit bureaus. However, if they are reporting on more than one credit bureau, then they are required to be consistent across the board. The information that they report, the dates that they report, the balances that they report, all of that. That's one. But you also asked another question, which is a collection company is trying to collect. Oh, they're increasing the amount. Now, that one I'm a little concerned about because I'm wondering, what type of collection is this? Was it a charged off collection? Give me a little more information on that, Thomas, W. Thomas, before I outright give you this advice, which may not be for you, but give me a little more information. All right, let's see. Is it possible to get a mortgage loan with a 90-day late that's 12 months old? So yes, it is. It is possible, especially if you don't have any other lates within the last 12 months. In order to be qualified for FHA and conventional, they typically will only allow you to have one late payment within the last 12 months. Being that you said they were 12 months old, then I will wait until they're at least 13 months just so that you're out of, that grace period, give it a little room, a little buffer room. But the borrowing terms for FHA or any conventional lending is no more than one late payment within the last 12 months. Okay. So I will wait until you are at least 13 months out. Now, I don't know how long you have until you want to close. But what I will say is that 90-day late payment, of course, it is affecting your credit score, but specifically your mortgage score, it's affecting it a lot. And about every 3 months now, so you're at 12 months. So every 3 months after that first year, you'll start to gain a lot of those points back. Not a lot, let me not say a lot, but like every 3 months that those late payments will age further. And as long as you have active current accounts that are reporting, then you'll see a little boost in your mortgage scores every 3 months now in 3-month increments. Okay. So I don't know how long you have to wait, if you even have that time. But to answer your question, yeah, you technically can get a mortgage loan being that your last late payments were over 12 months old. Another thing that your lender may require you to do is to justify those late payments. So I'm not sure what happened if I don't know, whatever happened, in your life, but it would be good to have reasoning for that and just, let them know that up front. Okay. Let me see. My credit cards are still open and I still use them, but I have missed payments and went over the limit. Do I have to pay them off for a certain amount of time for them to get out of the negative status? So my credit cards are still open and I use them, but I have missed payments and went over the limit. Okay. So in the past, right? So right now, as we're speaking, you are current on that account, I'm assuming. Right. So I'm gonna answer the question from that point of view. So being that you are current right now, then the account is no longer in default. However, those late payments and that over the limit status will still be included in the reporting of that account. Right. And so how late payments work on our credit report is whenever we get a late payment, that late payment is attached to our credit report for the life of that account on our credit report. Okay. So yes, it will still affect you. It of course affects the relationship that you have in place with your bank directly. So you'll find that they'll be a little stiff when it comes to credit limit increases and maybe even other credit cards. It isn't anything that makes them impossible. However, it will make it just a tad bit harder to secure a credit limit increase and things of that nature. Okay, I just thought about it. I actually can view y'all questions on here. Put my password in. Hold on. I'm trying not to let you see. Yeah, that'll be way better. So I won't have to keep looking over here. All right. Oh, it's backwards for y'all. All right. So, can you give some tips on how to get favorable outcomes once you are assigned a court date in regards to a motion to vacate judgment case with a collection agency? Can you give some tips on how to have favorable outcomes? That's technically attorney's advice, and so I'm a tread lightly in this situation because I would consult an attorney for that. But in terms of favorable outcomes, I don't actually even have advice. So there's not even really a disclaimer because it's really point blank whenever it comes to you being summoned to court for debt. What's going to happen is whenever you get to court, they're going to want you to set up a payment arrangement, a payment agreement to take care of the debt. You have rights in the sense that, like, if you do want to challenge it, if you do not believe that account is yours, if you don't the amount that they're requiring you to pay, then you can challenge that. But you will have to provide proof because then the burden of proof would be on you at that point. Agreement, right? If you do want to fight it, I definitely would contact a consumer law attorney or a debt attorney because I can't give you legal advice. Okay, so can you explain why a credit profile is more Can you explain why a credit profile is more important bargaining power wise than a high credit score? I understand why, but I feel like people need to understand how vital the profile is at all times, no matter the score. Yes, very true. So he essentially asks, Brent essentially asks, what is the difference between a credit score and a credit profile, and why is a credit profile more important? And the answer is super simple. And that's because our credit scores, it does not tell the entire story. It gives lenders like a glimpse at what we have going on our profile, but it doesn't give them any details concerning the accounts, our payment patterns, our behavior with debt, or any of that. So that's why our profile is way more important. That's why lenders care more about our profile than our score, and that's because our profile is made up of our account history. They'll see our current balance and also the balances that we average on those accounts. With FICO 10T, they'll be able to see trends. So they're able to see the last 2 years of each account, especially credit cards, and then they're able to use that information to predict how likely you are to pay them or not pay them for the next 2 years. So it just gives them much more information, and it gives them a detailed view of who you are as a consumer. Our credit scores don't tell them anything at all. Like, literally, a person can have a high credit score but not have a credit profile that matches that score. So that's why a lot of times, like, two people will have the same scores and one person is approved for whatever, one person is approved for a high limit credit card or a credit card, and then the other person is denied. And that's because the profiles that they have, had were different. Let me get a question from here. Let me see. Do charge-offs with higher than available balances cause your utilization to be above 100? Will paying them bring down your utilization? Great question. Yes. So if the charged off account was a credit card at some point, before it was charged off, if it was a credit card and you still have a balance on that account, yes, that will count in your utilization. That's a good question because a lot of people don't realize that. Yes, any balance that you have on a charged off account, the ones that were credit cards, they are counted against you and are counted in your credit utilization. So if you are a person that has routinely tried to report a low credit utilization, but not understanding why your credit is not increasing, why your score is not going up, that's probably because you have a charge off with a balance. Okay. Capital One is still putting interest on my account, but it has been charged off. So Capital One writes it within their contract that they're able to add post derogatory or post defaulted interest, which is exactly how as it sounds. Whenever they charge off the account, while they have that account still in their ownership, they're able to add interest, and they write that in their original agreement. So we agree to that when we sign up for Capital One. Unfortunately, but how much do you owe them? Because usually they'll just offload the account. All right. I was making car payments on a vehicle that is now totaled out and still has a remaining balance of $17,000. I now have a new car with another car note. The previous car note is the previous car lot is harassing me, saying I need to get another car with them to forgive the balance, or they will start garnishing my wages. I know normally they have to take you to court for this. However, I know a few people who they have started garnishing before court has been set. What can I do to get ahead of this? So what state do you live in? Because unless your local state laws changed, there's no way that they can garnish without going to court, because a judge has to order them and give them the right to garnish your wages. And in fact, your employee can't release your paycheck to anyone outside of a subpoena, right? So, and that requires a judge. So I'm not sure about when you said, a few people that they've started garnishing before court has been set. I'm willing to bet that what probably happened is the company ended up getting a default judgment because the person did not show up at court. Now that happens a lot, especially if the collection agency has an older address on that person. They can legally send it to the last address that you've given them, regardless it doesn't matter how old the address is. It doesn't matter how long it's been since you've lived there. If you never updated them with your address, they can legally send that subpoena to that address, and that counts. So if you maybe didn't get the mail, whatever the case may be, and you just didn't show up, then the judge will automatically give them a default judgment, which gives them the right to garnish your wages. But they can't do that without a judge. And also, them threatening you, saying that they'll garnish your wages, and they can say that they're going to take it to court, right? Because that's in their power. That's within their power. They don't have power to garnish you. A judge has to give them that right. So if they are threatening you like that, that's actually against the FDCPA. That's against the threatening and harassment of our consumer law. So I don't know if you recorded it. I don't know what state you live in, if it's a one-party or two-party state, but if you can catch them saying that, then you can sue them for that, and they'll owe you up to $1,500. So just FYI. Is it possible? Oh, I already answered that. Hi, Shonda. I got an email from a bureau stating about identity theft. I never put that in my dispute letter. How do I handle that? Then whenever they send you back the results, which I'm assuming that's what you're referring to, in your follow-up letter, you need to explicitly write that I am not challenging the identity of the account holder. That's not what I challenged. So you just have to call them out, because they'll default it to those dispute statuses, because that's the easiest dispute for them. Let me see. I have an eviction with no judgment, but a collection company is trying to collect on it and increase the amount. Oh, didn't I read that? Yeah. Oops, let me scroll down. My bad, I didn't see these. My husband is in the process of building credit, literally. He doesn't have anything borrowed anywhere, just 2 collections. Experian is reporting that he has no credit score. Yes, so in order for FICO to generate us a credit score, we would need at least 2 accounts for at least 6 months in order for our credit scores to generate. So there's no such thing as having a default credit score. Like, even to have a credit score, in order to have a credit score, rather, we have to have at least 2 accounts reporting for 6 months. Now, technically, his 2 collections could count. I don't know how old they are. But Experian is probably just not reporting a credit score because he has no borrowed debt. He has no debt, right? Active debt. So I don't know. Are you asking what should he do, or because no, you didn't ask the question there. So, but yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. When will late payments drop off? Mine is 5 years old right now. So if that account is still open, then those late payments will be attached to the account for the life of that account. Now, after 7 years, though, it's no longer calculated within our credit scores. So you're at 5 years, those payments should not even be affecting you anymore, though. Are you actively building credit? Late payments 5 years ago certainly shouldn't stop you from getting anything, unless you haven't established any credit or shown better behavior, essentially credit behavior, right? On your credit report since. So the last 2 years of our credit report, the most recent 2 years of our payment history is what has the most impact on not only our credit score, but our borrowing power. If I use someone's account as a trade line, do their collections affect my score? No. So if you are an authorized user on someone else's account, then the only thing on your credit report from theirs will be that account. That's it. Now, the utilization on that credit card that you're on, it affects you. And just all of the account information for that specific account will affect you. Everything else outside of that account has no bearing on your credit report. My Experian report is popping. Yes, Kimberly. Which bank is the best to use to refinance my car? So I personally, when it comes to loans and just refinancing in general, I typically will check 3 places. Number one, if you have a credit union, always check with a credit union. Credit unions are my favorite to use anytime I'm trying to borrow money long term. So any installments, mortgage, car loans, refinancing, and because they typically have the best rates. So check with a credit union. If you don't have a credit union right now, I would absolutely establish a credit union account. But another one that slept on is Capital One Auto Refinancing. I really love. I really like Capital One Auto Financing. I'm sorry, Capital One Auto Financing. And another thing that I like about them is you're able to get a pre-approval, and they'll tell you what your borrowing terms will be, how much they'll pay for the car, all of that before they ding your credit report. So they essentially will do it as a pre-approval, and then after you accept the borrowing terms, then you'll get the increase. So you're able to know if you will be approved and also what you are approved for before they give you an increase. So you can potentially avoid an increase with them. So I like them, but I definitely would still check with a credit union. Not a question, but please upload the new collection kit. I did. It's uploaded in the thing. In whatever week that was. I can't think of the week off the top of my head. It's uploaded. It should be. Oh, let me see. Wait. I gotta refresh it. How do I refresh this? Okay. All right. There we go. Let me get a few of these really quick. Really quick. Oh, yeah, I can't. It's gonna be backwards to y'all anyway. I guess I can mirror my screen, huh? Would that work if I mirrored my screen? Hold on, because I actually think it is a way for me to mirror my screen. Let me see. Let me see. What am I doing? Settings. Oh, there we go. Okay. Can y'all see it now? Oh, y'all can see it, right? Or am I tripping? Can y'all see that? I guess I can see it better when it's dark. Can y'all see that? I'm trying to fit it in the frame. Let me scoot over. All right. Can y'all see that? Shoot. I know the light. Let me see if I can. Actually, no. Girl, I ain't gonna be able to do this. I'm not gonna mess around with this tonight. Okay, that's it. That's as good as it get. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, y'all actually can. I'm trying to position it so y'all can see it. All right, let me see. Child support come out my check twice a month, but reports as not paid and late. I mean, you definitely need to check into that for sure. I would first contact your caseworker, your caseworker, and I will request a copy of your payment history. And then I would also get that from my bank so that you have you have proof on your end that they're taking the money, and then I would send it to the credit bureaus to request that they update it. And then if they do not do that, then I will file a CFPB report. But yeah, definitely request an account history. An account history. Rebuilding after bankruptcy was discharged. Really good question. So I have some, I'm going to put something on the screen so you can screenshot it. And then as I do that, I'm going to take another question. So can you go, oh, why I keep going down to the same questions? Hold on. Why I keep going back to the same question? Okay. I'm not sure what's going on, but I received an alert from Experian saying another one of my collections was verified and would not remove off my credit report. And then I checked my account 5 minutes later and my credit report updates, and now the same collection is gone. When an account is under investigation, then it will disappear from our credit reports. Child, why you ain't telling me my camera was dirty? What was I going to say? Yeah. So when an account is under investigation, if it's in dispute, then it will disappear temporarily from our credit reports. And then typically once they're done with the investigation is completed, then you'll see it pop back up. And also, if you are looking at credit monitoring apps while your accounts are in active dispute, a lot of times it'll appear to you as though like the account is being placed on your account. I mean, placed on your credit report and then removed, placed on it again and then removed. So it'll appear a lot more. You'll believe that there's a lot more activity going on your credit report, whereas that's not how your actual credit report is, because our real credit reports only refresh one time a month. Right. And so within that month, there could be a ton of changes that's showing forth on like Credit Karma or whatever app that you have, credit monitoring app that you have. However, none of those changes are considered finalized until your next report updates. So that's why I always say, you guys, while you're actively disputing, try your best not to pay attention to like those credit monitoring apps, because it'll not only drive you crazy, but it'll just have you thinking that there's a lot more going on your credit profile than it really is. Let me see. How bad is a voluntary repossession? So a voluntary repossession is the same thing credit report wise as a regular repossession. Whether that was voluntary or involuntary, they affect your credit report the same exact way. So in terms of, oh, I was supposed to be getting the other person's, I'm so sorry. But anyways, in terms of a repossession, that's considered a key derogatory account. So that means that it's the worst type of derogatory account that you can have right under a bankruptcy. What was I supposed to, what you're supposed to do after a, didn't you ask me what to do after, a bankruptcy? I was trying to show you the profile. That's what I was trying to show you. I'm like, what am I trying to even show? All right, let me show you. Hold on, I'm gonna have to skip all the way to it. Let me find it, and then I'll put it back on the screen. Will pledge loans and share loans still boost your credit score if you have a low credit mix in 2025? What do you mean by a low credit mix? Are you saying like you don't? Actually, I'm a parking lot that question about credit mix, because what I'm about to show will answer your question as well as the guy or girl before you. So I'm a parking lot that. Just give me a second. I'm trying to find a slide. A collection agency hasn't reported my account to the credit bureaus yet because it's in dispute. If I just go ahead and pay them, will they still put it on my credit? Hold on, child. I'm reading like a second grade. Hold on, trying to do too much. All right, so a collection agency hasn't reported my account to the credit bureaus yet because it's in dispute. If I just go ahead and pay them, will they still put it on my credit report? So if you can catch them before it reports to your credit report, then great, because then they can't report it. They can't report an account that's already paid prior to it making it to the credit bureaus. So now is the best time. Now is the best time to pay it. Just a follow-up question. Do I send the generated response letters of round 2 to the 3 bureaus, send Metro 2 letters to Experience for Credence and Jefferson, and then send validation letters separately to DC? I'm assuming that's the collection agencies. Should I, hold on, do I send the generated response letters of round 2? Okay, so first question, yes, you do still send your follow-up letter. So as I told you guys, those first 3 rounds are procedural. So as pointless as they probably do seem within your process, they are for a good reason. Yeah, hold on, my dog. They probably seem pointless. However, definitely still follow up, because if you're only going off a first round in order to determine if the account is actually verified, or even if they actually gave you your rightful dispute, then you stand to not enforce your own rights. Y'all, hold on. I was trying to find this. This is exactly what I was trying to find. All right. So, oh yeah. So, who is that? Zyla? Was it Zyla? No. Quintessa. So yes, send the round 2 letters, and then for Metro 2 letters, send those to Experience and Credence, because I'm assuming you have some sort of Metro 2 factual dispute that you found on your reports for that. Then yes, send that to them. And then no, hold on, and then send. Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, wait, no, why are you sending 2 for those? So actually, yes to all 3 of your questions, Quintessa. I had a repossession removed on Credit Karma. Is that accurate? So, I mean, that's hard to say because I'm not sure. I can't see your credit report. I will say that with Credit Karma, a lot of times the accounts are temporarily removed when you dispute on Credit Karma. A lot of times they are temporarily removed. When you go upstairs, can you turn on that light? Thank you, baby. Ooh.
Why do I look just like you?
Because you're my son. I made you. Ooh, let's see. Okay, so I did a CFPB report on my medical debt. That's on my credit, in which I just did it yesterday. I received a reply saying that the bill hasn't taken effect yet and they closed. All right. I'm on annual reports. Is there a reason why my collections on my Equifax report show up under other accounts instead of collections? And then it says collections under account type, but under other. It says I have 0 collections. Okay. I think I understand what you're saying. I'm gonna rephrase it and let me know if I'm right, Zyla. So on annual credit report, you have collections that's showing up under your account section. However, they're not showing up under the designated collection section. Right? Is that what you're asking? If that's your question, I'm gonna go ahead and answer it that way, but let me know if I was off. But if that is your answer, my bad, I thought I was looking at it. If that is your answer, if that is your, Jesus, I forgot it was mirrored. Y'all ain't gonna get to see it because it just is not working out. Plus, I want to share my screen, and I'm gonna have to switch to my other platform. Not other platform, my streaming thing, and that's gonna reverse it again. All right. Who is that? Angela. Angela, can you confirm to me if I understood your question correctly? So I gave mine away because I have a second car. Maybe you were talking to someone in the comments. So my account has been charged off, and I want to know how can I Friend, you ain't finished your question. All right, so let's say you have a good profile and you've shared, oh, I'm like, what? Let's say you have a good profile as you've shared, we should, okay? And then if one thing is bad, let's like utilization is high, is it still good to make a big purchase such as a car knowing that? I realize you want everything to be good to be the best, but if utilization is high and everything else is in good standing, will that be overall, will that be better overall for my odds? Okay. I get your question. You're asking like if you have the recommended credit profile that I recommend to everyone, which is the exact thing that I was trying to show. And actually it's right here. Look at it. Okay, wait, we got it. Oh, is that backwards to y'all or do I need to do the mirror again? Because that may be backwards. Or did that just affect my camera? Is that backwards to y'all? So this is what you are referring to. And I'm gonna get back to your question, Brent. I know I didn't answer it. Okay, because your question has something to do with this. And also those other people who asked about credit profile, this is the credit profile that I recommend to everyone, literally everyone. It's the base level credit profile if you ever want to have anywhere near what's considered a good profile, a good credit score, and to increase your borrowing power. Okay. So Brent is asking because as you guys can see, the recommended credit profile is having at least 4 open accounts, 2 of them being active credit cards, 1 being a long-term installment, 1 being a short-term installment, and then keeping your credit utilization for those credit cards between 1 and 9%. Okay, so this is the recommended credit profile for the best case scenario in any credit decision, right? Brent is asking if he has a check, if he's able to check all of these boxes except utilization between 1 and 9%, because maybe his utilization is high, but he has everything else that I recommend. He's asking, is that good enough? You know, would I still recommend that he move forward with his application or what? Right. And so Brent, the answer is because utilization is the second largest factor in our credit scores, because it's often the first or weigh as much as our payment history, which is the largest factor in our credit scores when it comes to lenders and them making a decision and it determining, you know, our approval terms. I would personally, professionally, and even just personal advice, I would say that a high utilization is probably of the worst things that you can have. And so even if you're doing great in all these other categories, high utilization can still make or break your application. It certainly can still make or break it. So no, it probably won't stop you from outright getting approved for whatever you're applying for, but it certainly will have an impact on how much you're approved for in the interest rate and all of that. I don't know if you're applying for an installment, so like a car, a home, or whatever the case may be, or if you're just applying for a credit card. But in both scenarios, your credit utilization is going to make a big difference. So to answer your question, yeah, you can technically still go ahead and apply and see if they'll just push your application through. But if you can help it, I certainly would recommend that you lower your utilization prior, unless it's an emergency, unless you don't have time to do it. But utilization is like one of those things where I can almost take a late payment over high utilization. Yeah, even though our payment history is 35% of our score and credit utilization is only 30, a lender would it wouldn't be hard, it wouldn't be uncommon rather to find a lender that is willing to accept like a one-time late payment within the last 12 months or within the last 6 months over high utilization, because high utilization expresses that they're like you are already overwhelmed by the debt that you have. Like you're not able to pay back your current load, right? And lenders are not going to want to add more to that, lend you more money if you are already struggling to like pay back what you've already borrowed. And this is how they look at it. Because they're just going to look at like you're already exhausted with whatever you are borrowing at this point. So I would personally recommend that you lower it. And I don't know what you're considering high utilization, because I can admit that like my recommendation of high or my view of high utilization is anything over like 15%, right? So it doesn't necessarily have to be as rigid as that, but if it's you get into the 20% range, that's about 50 to 60 points that you're just leaving on the table. So I don't know what you're considering high, but I would recommend, if you can, if it's possible, for you to lower it. All right, so how do I go about getting my paid charged off accounts removed, because the payment history is different across all the bureaus, and I've been disputing the Credit Academy and nothing is working. I would like the accounts removed. Should I use your advanced charge off kit? Charge off. Okay, wait. So it's a charged off. It's a charged off. It's a charge off. And how many round? What round are we on? You got to give me a little more context, Nikita. Ooh, that's my middle name. I spell it a little different. Nikita, I'm gonna refresh it. I'm waiting for your response before I respond to that, so I can tell you exactly what to do. All right. So can you give me some tips on how to get? I already read that. Why does it keep bringing me back to the same questions? Let's see. Let me see. I sent my round one dispute letter for one late payment on my open credit card. They did not remove the late payment. Should I send a round two? You are supposed to send a Goodwill adjustment letter if the credit card account is still open. Are you disputing it with the credit bureaus? If you are, I wouldn't recommend that. So within the instructions in Credit Academy, it says that if the account is still open, then it's not ever recommended to send disputes to the credit bureaus, because one or two things can happen. They can either decide, your bank, they'll either decide to go ahead and just close the account outright. Oh, I thought I clicked off. They'll either decide to just close the account outright, or I'm over that. I'll just use my iPad. I'm tired of turning all the way around. I'm gonna just, I don't think y'all can see it anyway. So child, it ain't make no difference anyway. All right, so I'm still on there though, guys. Let me refresh it. If the account, let me see. If the account is closed dispute, if it is a closed dispute, if it is still open, Goodwill. Oh, you was answering her question. Yeah, but what a kid said. All right. After listening to you since the early days of Road to 750, anything above 9% is high. You know it. You know it. And I still say the same thing. Ain't nothing changed. I love it. I love that y'all already know. Oh no, I need to plug my computer in. My credit scores are 500, TransUnion 555, Experian 556, and then Equifax 708. Oh, that's a big difference. I'm so confused and not sure what to do. I have no collections. I have late student loan payments. So I know those have affected my score, but my Equifax score just went up 100 points. I'm not sure where to start and what to do. I'm paying down utilization as well. Do you have credit cards? So whenever it went up 100 points, they should have tied it to an event. Like, are you able to see what changed on your credit report? My guess would be a jump that big. I would assume it's something to do with a late payment, like the payment history. So I don't know if late payments were removed from Equifax, if they decided to remove it, and maybe TransUnion and Experian have just not updated their reports yet, because all three credit bureaus are not on the same schedule. Sometimes they're like 2 weeks to even 3 weeks behind one another. So that's a big jump. So something happened. It didn't just jump just because. And then because you don't have any late pay, or because you don't have any collections, that will lead me to believe that jump was a result of something with your payment history. I don't know if the student loan that you were referring to with the late payments was deleted, or if those late payments was removed from Equifax. But you definitely need to investigate what changed. And they should have attributed that 100 jump increase to a change. Nikita, I'm looking for your update. I'm refreshing it again. All right. If I am overlooking it, tag me, Nikita, like right under your comment if I'm just not seeing it. Where's my charger? We're gonna have to move. We're gonna have to move closer to a charger. Sworn it. I have 7%. We gotta take a field trip. I don't know where my block. Yeah, we're gonna have to move. All right, how can I do this all in one go? All right, yeah, I'm gonna put it on a commercial. It's a little 30-second commercial, and then because I don't think I'm gonna be able to carry y'all at the same time. Also one. Here. All right. Dang, I still can't reach the plug. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go get an extension cord. I'm gonna put y'all on hold real quick. Back, right back in, like we never left. This might be a dumb question, but if you have one installment paid off, is that equivalent to 90% as well, or do I need a self? So, no, it doesn't do the same thing as. So the reason that I recommend having one installment account still open, but with less than 10% remaining of the balance, is because it'll boost your score. Because the account is still open though. So if you close the account, then you obviously it still helps your history, your payment history, because those payments do still count. And it does look good when you have a completed loan. If you did not pay that loan off early, I will say, especially if it's within the last 2 years, then that helps a lot. That helps your borrowing power a lot. But if it was still open and it had less than 90% and it had less than 10% remaining of the balance, then it just kind of boosts installment based scores. So that's why. Let me see. I done came out here now. He think you're gonna have to ignore him. Kobe. Girl, no, it's a Yorkie. He is certainly not a big dog. He think he is. All right, so it's open and it's an eviction. I have let me see. Hi, Shonda. I have 2 unpaid Capital One cards, now owned by collection agencies. Should I settle or pay in full? Which option best helps your credit? 2 unpaid Capital One cards now. So they're both with collection agencies. Should I settle? Oh, you're saying should you settle or pay in full? So either way, there will be no score difference. So they'll whether you settle or pay in full, it'll still equate to the same difference in your score. So I like to settle because why not get a discount, you know? I'm still looking for Nikita follow up on her question because I don't want to miss it. Before I started Credit Academy. All right, so before I started Credit Academy over, I was on round 5 and I had just rejoined 2 months ago. Now I'm going on round 2. You was on round 5. I'm confused. You say you on round 2. Same thing all the credit bureaus is doing is sending me my credit reports without detailed information. Okay, so what seems to be happening is they're marking you frivolous, but that's because what it sounds like is you've sent essentially like 7 rounds. Does that sound about right? You sent 7 rounds for the same account, and do you know I am still confused only because I know you said you were on round 5. Now, what were you challenging with in those 5 rounds? Because it's not necessarily just like sending letters, right? And then I tell you guys all the time. I was trying to see if I could pull up your thing, but I won't be able to do it while I'm live. Thoughts on debt management? I'm not the biggest fan of debt consolidation, just because you'll pay those companies to do the same exact thing that you can do. Like you literally can send your own debt settlement letters to collection agencies, and they'll accept it the same way as they would if that company sends it. I'm really curious about this, Nikita. This is why I keep trying to look, but I believe I'm gonna have to look for it because what I was trying to say is like you can send multiple rounds to the credit bureaus, and a lot of times people will just continue to either challenge the same exact thing, challenge the account the same exact way, or they're like sending random disputes. And in that case, if it's not a continuation of your last dispute, challenging something else on the same account, then it doesn't count as another round. If the credit bureaus have not accepted that dispute and they're just sending you either the frivolous letter or like your credit report, it would seem as if they may have marked your disputes frivolous for that account and they're not even investigating anymore. But I can't know for sure unless I can see it, but that's what it sounds like. All right, can you clarify that a Goodwill letter should only be sent to the credit bureaus if the accounts are still open? A Goodwill letter should never be a Goodwill letter should never actually be sent rather to the credit bureaus directly. A Goodwill letter is only for your creditor, like whoever you have the account with. Is my thing charging? Oh yeah, it is. Whoever you have the account with, that's who you send the Goodwill letter to. I mean, so Capital One, Bank of America, whatever. Like you'll send the Goodwill letter to them, and then they have to contact the credit bureaus on your behalf to make changes on that account. But you never send Goodwill letters to the credit bureaus. They can't do it. They don't. The credit bureaus only report information that the furnisher gives them. They are not the original creditor. They're not the furnisher. They're not the source. So they can't take it upon themselves to change anything on your account. Like even when we dispute on, like when we send disputes to the credit bureaus are not who's determining if the account is verified or validated. They actually send it to the company, and then the company will essentially say, hey, this account is validated because XYZ, and then the credit bureau just echoes what they say. So the credit bureau is just a reporting agency. They just collect the data and compile it on our credit reports, but they don't have power to do much of anything other than report what so-and-so said and like look over our investigation process, our dispute process, to make sure that both sides are getting, a good end of the stick, a fair end of the stick. But of course, we know that they're in bed together, but still, you have to send it to your creditor, to your lender, rather. Hi, Kobe. Now you want to be good? No. Say hi. You getting heavy. Wait, you're gonna take out my charger. Say hi. Say hi. No. You stink, Kobe. You smell like outside. Ooh, you stink. How long does it take for a late payment to remove from credit? Oh, I already answered this. Your credit naturally, 7 years. If this freaking iPad time out one more time. Let's see. Hi, Shonda. Can I start disputing if I just sent the personal information letters? Also, any update on medical bills being deleted, or is this something that we have to do? Good question. Uh, First question is, personal information letters are not considered account disputes. So you're still able to dispute your accounts at the same time that you're disputing your personal information. So to answer your first question, yes. To answer your second question in terms of the medical bills. So for those of you who may not know, there was a recent update on regarding our credit reports and specifically medical information. And what that I was trying to bring up to the report, but what that update was is they determined that no medical collections can legally report on our credit reports any longer. That started March 17th of 2025. So literally like what, two weeks ago or whatever. However, they did say that it could take up, or it would take up to 6 months in order to delete it off our credit reports. But the great thing is creditors, like, they're not able to use that account, that information. I'm sorry, they're not able to use your medical collection against you. They're not able to use it to determine your approval terms or anything of that nature. So it could still be on your credit report, but they are not able to legally use that account. So essentially, like, they have to omit it. They have to omit it from their decisioning, and that started March 17th. And I was trying to find. Here it goes. Here it goes. Girl, yeah, I'm used to being in my filming room, so, and on my other computer, it's like I have everything. I know where everything is, rather, on that computer. I don't know what has been going on with Apple, but it's like I'll do something on my laptop and it doesn't mirror to my desktop anymore. And it used to. But like now I have different files, different, like it's almost like they don't even talk to each other anymore. And that really makes it difficult for me to find what I need to find, child. And that is just really annoying. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So CFPB finalizes the rule to remove medical bills from our credit reports. And the important part that I wanted to show was right here. So not only does it ban all medical bills from credit reports, as I stated, so if you have a medical bill on your credit report, it should be removed within the next 90 days or so. They did temporarily pause it because there was, some issues with the CFPB. However, a judge decided that, like, they reinstated their power, and also this act. So it has been pushed through. So you should see your medical collections dropping off soon. Now, the other thing that's important is it prohibits lenders, this bill prohibits lenders from even considering medical information in any credit decision. So the rule ends the special regulatory carve-out that previously allowed creditors to use certain medical information in making lending decisions. This means lenders will also be barred from using information about medical devices such as prosthetic limbs that could be used to require the devices serve as collateral for a loan or for the purposes of repossession. That's a whole nother topic that I could talk about. However, the important part and what answers your question is, yes, it was recently ruled that this is going to go into effect, and they're going to backdate it. So from March 17th. And then they said it'll take about 6 months. If y'all remember, in, I want to say maybe like 2022, the CFPB, they were conducting an investigation into, like, our credit reports, the credit bureaus, the lenders, and all of that. But specifically, they were researching medical bills and how it's affected our credit reports and all of that. So essentially what they found was, since COVID, medical bills made up about 48, or there was a medical bill on 48% of credit reports, right? And then what was super interesting about that is, regardless if you had health insurance or not, if the consumer had health insurance or not, there wasn't a real difference in those who still had the medical collections versus those who did not. So literally, even if you had medical insurance, even if you had health insurance rather, it still didn't make a difference. And half of credit reports, half of Americans still were dealing with medical bills on their credit report, which is insane. And so they determined that whether a person has medical bills or not on their credit report, it's not a great determining factor in predicting if that consumer will pay back a loan or will be a responsible borrower or not. Like, it just did not have any connection, which we know that, like, that makes sense to us, but lenders were still holding our medical collections rather against us. So yes, it has been passed. I'm having trouble requesting my LexisNexis report. I called them and requested online multiple times, but nothing is coming. What are they saying when you request it? Are they like confirming that they're sending it? Because if they're confirming that they found your report and they're sending it, are they possibly sending it to another address? Did you confirm the address to them? Because that is strange. Now, I will say it do take it. I didn't order the LexisNexis report and it took like 3 weeks. So I don't know how long it's been, but if they've asked them to send you it online, like they're able to allow you to download it online, especially if you verify your identity online. I mean, over the phone. Shonda, you said even if I get all my accounts under 10%, if I have a charge off for a CC, it still can affect my utilization. Yes. So there is something called aggregate utilization, and then there is something called individual utilization. When it comes to our credit cards, both are important if the goal is to get as many points as possible. Like, if the goal is to make your score as high as possible and make your borrowing power the best that it can be, then you want to individualize your utilization, and that's looking at each individual credit card and ensuring that they are reporting between 1% and 9%. Now, to answer your question, because you have a charge off and your aggregate utilization may be, like 9%, for example, because you have a charge off with a balance, then that's affecting your utilization. Yes, it is affecting your utilization. So try to settle the charge off. I don't know how much you owe. I don't know how old is it? Because if it's like 5 years old, then it's a dub. You just gotta let it age off. Is it still affecting you? Like, are you getting denied because of it or something? The late payment thing. I didn't, because I don't have my normal. So I normally keep like 5 presentations queued up, like when I'm live, but it's on my other computer. That's what I was just talking about. Like, it literally is like I have 2 separate accounts. They're signed into the same freaking Apple ID. It used to be seamless. Like, I can literally start a paper on my laptop, and then let's just say I just want to go work in my office. I can pick up as if like I never ever stopped, left off. Like, it was very seamless. And then it's just like for the last 6 months or so, child, I be so lost. I'm like, and then I forget. I forget every time. It surprises me every single time because I'm so used to it doing it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I probably changed something in the settings or something, child. If I pay my credit cards on time, child, I can't fit both of these right now. Let me see. If I pay my credit cards on time with utilization of 1%, how many points should I expect monthly? There's no way for me to know that without looking at your credit card, because I don't even know what your current credit scores are. I don't know anything about your report other than you reporting 1%. What I can tell you is trying to show you. What I can tell you is for credit utilization, that specific category within our credit scores lends to up to 165 points. And so depending on how consistent you've been with reporting that 1%, like how long it's been, and also what else is on your credit profile, like how you're doing in all the other categories, then you can, well, it's still no way to know, because there's no way for me to answer that question, honestly. There's no way, because I don't know how many points you're missing. I was trying to think of a scenario, but it's just like I also don't even know if you, like, for example, if you brought your credit, if your utilization before this month was, let's just say 50%, and then you brought it from 50% to 1%, then you stand to see a huge increase in your credit score. However, if you brought it from maybe 10% down to 1%, then you will still gain a few points, but it won't be nearly as much. So it's hard to say without knowing what you were reporting prior. Here we go. This is what I was showing. It really wasn't, but that works. Dang, man, I need to go in my film room, but we just gonna thug this one out. I was gonna say new background. I'm so used to seeing your film room. Oh my goodness, yes. Let me tell y'all why I haven't used my filming room in the last 3 lives. So I have to take I did an update on my desktop, like my iMac, and it just stopped. Like the Apple screen, it just keeps recycling. And I called Apple. They want me to take it to the Apple store. Child, the Apple store is over an hour away from me. I'm gonna do it, but it's just I haven't prioritized it because I just been on my laptop or whatever. But yeah, like it's just recycling the Apple screen. All right. Hi, Shonda. Is it true that if you pay off your credit card balance in full, it will reflect on your credit right away? Not true, but it will reflect within 30 days. So within a full billing cycle, depending on where you are within the cycle. And also you have to ensure that your balance is paid off on your statement date, because you can pay off your credit card to zero, but you use the card again before your statement date. Whatever balance is on your credit card on your statement date is the balance that the credit bureaus will receive. So timing is important. Timing is very important. No question, but we should do a Credit Academy cruise. That would be dope. That would be dope. I low key, high key cannot stand cruises. I'm just not the biggest fan of them. But like a vacation sounds better. But yeah, I don't like cruises. They actually make me they make me sick. Oh, okay. Shout out to Akia because she just corrected me. So the medical bill that I was just referring to you, that I was just showing you guys about them deleting our medical bills from our credit reports, they pushed the date back from March 17th, 90 days. So the new effective date is June 15th. Thank you, Akia. Thank you, Akia. So it was still approved, but the date was pushed back 90 days. So the new date that it will start, or the new date that it will take effect, is June 15th of this year. What's this, April? All right. Thank you, Akia. No question. Just wanted to tell you that I ended up disputing my LexisNexis report. I ended up disputing my LexisNexis report from 92 pages all the way down to 63. And that was only round 1. Whew, that's a lot. That's good. That's amazing, actually. Yeah, they be having a lot of just unnecessary information. My cars are finally paid down. I'm trying to buy a house. What else can I do? That's hard to say. I don't know what's on your credit profile. Look, here's the rules. If you are new to Ask Shonda or credit Q&As, try to give me as much information as possible, or not even necessarily as much information as possible. But when you are asking a question where you want specific strategy or whatever the case may be, you have to let me know what's already on your credit profile, because I don't know. I don't even know where to start. I wouldn't even know where to start. So you say your credit cards are finally paid down. First of all, what's paid down, right? So what's your utilization? Do you have any loans currently reported on your credit report? What else would make a difference? So tell me what your current utilization is. Tell me how many open accounts you have total, and then tell me if you have any other loans. And then I'll be able to give you more information or any specific recommendations for your house. Should you pay off a repossession that happened in 2019? What's that, 6 years ago? 2019. I'm currently building my credit and I'm lost on should I pay it since while rebuilding my credit I'm lost on how to approach it. Thanks. 2019. That's 6 years ago. No, do not pay that. Do not pay that. Do not waste your money. And do not re-age that account. That account is about to be removed from your credit report. It should be being removed from your credit report within the next year. Probably you're probably only a couple months off. So no, do not pay it, because if you pay it, then you will re-age that account. It's done. It's it. That's it. What you need to focus on is your active accounts, your current accounts. What are you doing now? Do you have at least 4 open accounts? Of those 4 accounts, are at least 2 of them credit cards, primary credit cards in your name, not counting any authorized user accounts, like accounts that you were approved for. Do you have at least one short-term installment on your credit report? Do you have any long-term installments? That's what I would be concerned about. That's what I would be putting my money into, paying down current loans or current installments, or my current credit cards. Certainly not entertaining a repossession that happened almost 6 years ago. Absolutely not. All right. So, you used to have a list of creditors' information for Goodwill letters, such as CEO and emails located. Is it updated? Yes. Check the learning lab in the community. If it's not in the learning lab, check the members' files. I forgot which one it was in, but I think I keep saying I keep almost saying, like, let me just pull it up again, forgetting that I'm not on my regular computer. But I actually believe I do have. Let me see if I have that. All right, I'm gonna answer another question while I'm at it. Okay, life happened and I got behind on my credit. I am getting back into getting my credit together. Do you recommend settling some balances even if the account has closed? Are they charged off accounts? Are they collection accounts? Maisha, give me a little more information, because I wouldn't recommend, if it's a collection account, I wouldn't recommend that you just outright pay it. Depending, like, it depends. I wouldn't just give you a blanket, like, yeah, go ahead and settle that, go ahead and pay that, because a lot of times, especially with collections, it's almost better if you don't pay it, if you maybe either challenge it, depending on, what's going on the account, how old it is. Don't just, be offering up payments specifically to collections. But if it's a charged off account, regardless of like the status of it, or all of that, if you have a balance on a charged off account, settling that account will improve your borrowing power in almost all scenarios, unless it was like, the person who asked if they should pay a 6-year-old account, because in that case, then no, that's about to fall off. That is about to fall off. Creditors are not tripping on that anymore. Only, especially if you've built credit since then. 9:02. Okay, it ain't that late. I'm gonna do about 30 or so more minutes. All right, here's a quick list right here. Can y'all see that entire thing? Kobe, what you looking for? Because I think I left my what's it called on the table, and you better not. Okay, y'all can see it. All right. What are different short-term loans? I thought you never asked. I can show you. All right, I'm gonna give y'all about 20 more seconds to screenshot that, and then, because I gotta bring up something else. What you asked me? What I'm looking for? Oh, I was actually looking for a presentation. All right, did y'all get that? Mhm. Some Dang, somebody just asked me a good question. Oh, short-term loans, short-term loans, short-term loans, short-term loans. I got you. All right, I'm gonna parking lot your question because I'm gonna pull up something. But while I am pulling that up, let me answer another question. My son is trying to build his credit. He does not have any credit cards yet. Can you recommend credit cards? His score is 668. He has a small student loan and he recently paid a care credit card. Okay. I certainly could. And actually, the same presentation that I was trying to find for the person who asked about the short-term installments is the same presentation that would also answer your question. So I'm trying to get it. I'm trying to remember what. Let me remove that comment so y'all can screenshot. Just a quick rundown for building credit. Anybody who's trying to build credit, anybody who's unsure of where they are in their credit journey, anybody who may have a high credit score, but your borrowing power is not really getting you approved or anything. Maybe your score is stagnant. You don't know what to do. Quick rundown, just a 10-minute spill. I promise, just one rant. I said I wasn't gonna rant today, but just one. All right. So for anybody just trying to build credit from scratch, or you're already experienced in building credit, but you just are not sure where to go from where you currently are, the first thing that I would recommend is to ensure that you have all of these things on this list. And what that is having at least 4 open accounts. They have to be primary in your name. And then 2 of the 4 accounts that should be open, you need to have at least 2 credit cards. Okay. You can pick any company or any credit limit. Like the limits doesn't matter, nor does the company, nor does the type of credit card count, outside of just ensuring that one of them is an open bank card. So it's connected to, you can use the card anywhere. It's not connected to only one institution or one like store, like a Walmart card or an Old Navy card or something like that. So if you do have a store card, you want to make sure that you at least have one open bank card. Okay. Now, then your third account, you need to have at least one short-term installment. A short-term installment is any loan that's reporting to all 3 of your credit reports that is under 36 months long. Okay. So it could be a personal loan, it could be a credit builder loan, it can be like a self account, it can be a finance account from a furniture store, or whatever the case may be. The only concern that you have is it needs to be under 36 months. The term length needs to be under 36 months for it to be considered a short-term installment. Okay. And then in addition to having one short-term installment, you want to the best of your ability, add at least one long-term installment to your credit history within the last 3 years. So this, if you have student loans, then you already have a long-term installment. If you have a auto loan, if you have a mortgage, those are all considered long-term installments. Long-term installments are any loans over 36 months. So again, short-term is under 36 months, and then long-term is over 36 months. Okay. So by now you have 4 open accounts, because we know that anytime our open accounts drop below 4 open accounts, then your credit profile is considered inexperienced and is considered thin. So you want to at least have 4 open accounts at all times. Okay. We know that we need 2 credit cards. We know we need 1 short-term installment, and then we know we need 1 long-term installment to meet the requirements for having that perfect credit mix, and meeting what lenders like to see on our profiles. Now, there are rules that I have for not only your installments, but your credit cards. The rules for every credit card that you have open, if you want to maximize your score, you want to individually ensure that each credit card is reporting under 10%. Okay. Each of them individually, each of them are reporting under 10%. That'll give you the most of your points. It'll give you the most points that you could possibly get based on what's on your credit profile. This is for my people who has derogatory accounts, who has collections, who has charge-offs, who has repossessions, or any derogatory account on your credit report. The best thing that you can do for your credit profile and your borrowing power is reporting utilization under 10%. Why? Because your utilization is not based on your derogatory accounts. That stands outside of your derogatory accounts, and you can still get all of those points with derogatory accounts. So that's why you want to make sure that you're getting as much of those points as possible. Because when you have derogatory accounts, your payment history is affected. Your payment history is the largest factor. Our payment history is the largest factor of our credit score. So our payment history is literally 35% of our credit score. So anytime you have derogatory accounts, it's affecting our payment history. So you want to counteract that and try to get as many of the credit utilization points as possible, which is reporting your utilization under 10%, specifically between 1% and 9%. And if you want to squeeze every point that you possibly could, then you can report between 1% and 3%. Okay. I typically only do the 1% to 3% right before I'm applying for something, but on a normal month-to-month consistent basis, I just as long as I'm under 10%, then I'm fine. Then the last recommendation for anyone who wants to squeeze as many points out as possible and to improve their borrowing power is to have at least one installment on your credit report that's that's at least 90% satisfied. So what that means is, let's just say you took out a loan for like $200, just for demonstration purposes. You took out a personal loan, maybe it was, let's just say $200. If you pay off at least 90% of that $200 and the account is still open, but there's less than 10% of that 10% of that balance remaining, what that does is that just adds a bit of a boost to your profile, because how loans are accredited to our profiles is you seek to gain the most out of a loan towards the end. Within that last 10% of any loan, that's when that loan is doing the most for our credit profiles. So you'll notice, like, if you've had a car loan, other installment accounts, you'll notice that you can have them for years, but like your score is not really moving, right? Like, I have people all the time asking me, like, I've had this car for 3 years. I've been paying it on time. Sometimes I even double the payment, but my credit score is not moving. Like, I'm still not seeing the change that I believe that I'm supposed to see, because I've been paying it on time for this long. And that's simply because, again, installments are not like credit cards. They don't affect our entire credit profile every single month. Installments do the most for our profile at the end. And that's simply because there's an agreement that was set in place whenever you sign for, whenever you open that installment account, and then the term length was laid out. You knew how much, by the time you drove off that lot, you knew exactly how much your monthly payment was, and you knew how long you are required to make that monthly payment, right? And so an installment shows borrowers how much you're able to adhere to your original loan terms. So things that affects your grading on installment accounts are, like, if you get deferments. If, let's just say, you couldn't make a payment this month, you call up your bank and say, hey, can you defer this payment? Can you add it on to the end of this loan? And they say, yeah, that changes your original loan term. So you are not going to get as much as you can out of that particular loan. So the rule for the short-term installment is it needs to be 100% in compliance with the original loan term. Whatever you do with the long-term installment, that's up to you. Like, there are different situations and scenarios that happen in our lives that would have us either end a long-term installment early. Maybe you're selling a house, maybe you're refinancing a car. There could be a lot of different scenarios. You can decide to do what you want with the long-term installment. I'm not as strict on long-term installments, because, again, only about 36% of long-term installments see the end of the long-term length, right? So, but specifically, if you're wanting to be strategic, the short-term installment needs to be at 100%. If you have a short-term installment and you've gotten a late payment on that short-term installment, it does not count. You need another one. No, 99% in compliance does not count. No. Almost right is still wrong. Okay. So you need, for that short-term installment, it has to be 100%. It has to be 100%. If you got a late payment, finish paying that off, but then you need to start another one because that doesn't count. Okay. Do not defer any payments on this short-term installment. Okay. Again, don't pay late. Also, do not end it early. Stop ending short-term installments early if you don't have an experienced credit profile. It's the worst thing you could do. The whole point in getting an installment, the whole point in building credit is to add as many on-time payments to your payment history as possible. The only way you're able to do that is if you allow the account to naturally age as it intends to do. Okay. You cannot do that with ending the installment early. So again, I'm gonna go over it one more time. Have at least 4 open primary accounts in your name. 2 of those 4 accounts are credit cards. Okay. You're going to ensure that every single month, the credit card utilization that you report is between 1% and 9%. Then you're going to ensure that you have at least 1 short-term installment on your credit profile. I'm going to show you examples of short-term installments as well as credit cards for those of you who don't believe you can get a credit card. Okay. So you're going to have at least 1 short-term installment. You're not going to pay that short-term installment off early, nor are you going to be late. Absolutely under no scenario. Okay. And if you are going to finish paying that loan, and then you're going to get another one. Okay. And then what I'm missing, I already said the utilization. Okay, cool. Now I feel like it's something else that I didn't mention, but y'all see it screenshotted, right? Now that takes us to the next situation, which is for anyone who can't get approved for a credit card. If you've applied for a, let's say, Discover card, a Capital One card, typically if you get denied for a Capital One card or Discover It card, that means that you need to apply for a subprime card. Okay, so there are 4 tiers to credit cards. We have subprime cards. Those are for people with bad credit. Bad credit means that you've recently, within the last 24 months, had the presence of a derogatory account on your credit report. So you either had a new collection pop up within the last 12 to 24 months, or maybe an account was recently charged off. Maybe you just filed bankruptcy. For the person who asked about bankruptcy, this exactly what I'm explaining with the credit profile setup and all of this pertains to you as well. Literally any credit profile. This credit profile speaks to how our credit scores are allotted. It literally ensures that you are gaining points from each category. Lenders love that when you are showing that number one, when you're building credit, when you're doing it responsibly, but also you have a great credit mix. So you're demonstrating your responsibility. You're demonstrating that you are responsible with all types of credit, right? And then also like payment history and all of that. So that's like the most efficient way to build your credit. The fastest way to improve your credit is that, right? Now, if you've recently had a derogatory account, you have bad credit, you need a subprime card, right? So you can pick 1 or 2 of these subprime cards. My only rule when it comes to these 2 tiers, which is subprime and starter, is do not go over 2. The max, the ceiling, the freaking limit is 2. Do never, ever, ever get more than 2 of these cards, ever, under no scenario. Okay, guys, do not ever get more than 2 of these cards. These are subprime cards, or these are starter cards. They're exactly as they sound. They are literally there. The only purpose that they serve is to get you to the next level. That's it. And whether you have 2 cards or 5 cards, it does the same thing. So you do not need to get more than 2 of these cards. So again, if you have bad credit, if you can't get approved for a Capital One Platinum or Discover It, then you need a subprime card. Okay. If you're fresh out of bankruptcy, you need a subprime card. Get 2. Also, don't be putting thousands and thousands of dollars on a subprime card, because some of these are secured and then a few of them are unsecured. Do not put thousands of dollars on a subprime card or a starter card. That makes no sense. You only need $250 for it to count. As long as the limit is at least $250, then you're good. That's all that you need to do. Instead of putting $500 on one card, I would I would advise you to get two separate cards with $250 limits. So instead of putting $500 on one card, put $250 on 2 cards. That'll do more for your credit profile. Okay. again, that is the limit. So if you already got, if you're looking into your inside your wallet and you see that you already you at your max with these, no more, no more. If you can't get approved for traditional cards, then whatever you're currently doing with those credit cards, you need to change it up. You need to make sure that you are meeting the requirements on that last slide, because there's no reason why you need to have more than 2 of these. Okay. So starter cards are for individuals with either a thin credit profile or you just have you don't have credit. Maybe you are like the person asked about their child, starter card, right? The all student cards fall under starter cards. This list is not comprehensive. Like, there are other cards in each of these categories. These are just my personal favorites, okay? Within these categories. Okay. So with a subprime and starter card, don't expect the high limit. Don't expect the cards to graduate, because more than often they don't. And if they do graduate, they still will hit a very low ceiling, which is you don't typically see these cards getting over a $2,000 credit limit, right? So don't expect it. Don't expect it. Again, these cards are only there because they report to all 3 credit bureaus. They report timely, and they'll approve you regardless of, what's going on your profile. And that's all you need. That's all you need, because your goal for these cards is just to show on your credit report that you are responsible. You know how to use a credit card. You know when to pay it back, because you are going to be reporting between 1% and 9%. We do not carry balances over, especially on subprime and starter cards, guys. I'll tell you a secret. If your credit card limit is under $1,500 and you're routinely carrying a balance, lenders will keep you there. You will not ever get approved for a really high limit credit card if you are showing that, even with starter limits, because lenders consider starter limits under $1,500. So any credit card, it doesn't even matter the company, any credit card under $1,500 is automatically considered a starter limit. So if they judge you harshly is maybe a little bit much, but they judge you a lot on how you behave with your starter cards. I'll just say that, right? Like, you will literally keep yourself in a box. And I'm gonna tell you how you know that you've boxed yourself in. If you cannot get approved, if you find yourself only getting approved for, maybe like the most you get approved for is like $4,000. I like to call it like stuck in that like mid-range limit where it's like under $5,000. It doesn't matter how long you've been building credit, how many credit cards you have. No company is approving you for more than $5,000. And if it's a Navy Federal card, $10,000. That's the same as $5,000, like with another account, in terms of like their approvals, right? So if you find yourself stuck in there and you're not ever able to surpass that, it's because you're either building credit way too fast, you're opening up way too many credit cards, or 2, the balances that you're carrying is way too high for the starter limits. You are not building your borrowing power. You may be building credit, like time may be passing, but you are not increasing your borrowing power. So if it's been more than 6 months and you still can't get approved for a traditional card out, and you're still only able to be approved for these subprime cards, or maybe like retail cards, which still falls under this category as well, any store cards, then your utilization is going to be your best bet. Focusing on your utilization is your best bet right now. All right. So let's just say you've already had the starter and subprime cards for at least 9 months, 6 to 9 months. It depends on the company, but just to be safe, I'll just blanket it and say 9 months. So you have your starter card or your subprime card for at least 6 to 9 months before you apply for any of these cards. Mid-tier cards are the everyday cards. These are going to be the cards that has high limits, has rewards, whether that's cash back, points, depending on the card that you get. These are suited for the everyday American. How we spend our money, what we spend our money on. These cards are suited to reward you for those spending categories. Gas, groceries, DoorDash, eating out, and all of that. These cards are literally built to be a lifestyle card. These are the cards that you replace your debit card with, and we'll talk about that later. But these are my favorite cards. These limits can go up to about 60,000, depending on which card it is, and that's average. So sometimes even higher. There is no limit to how many of these cards that you can get. The only rule that I would have with that is, if don't open up more than 3 cards in a single calendar year. ever, ever, ever. Because then now that you are experienced and you're getting approved for high limits and all of that, everything's good. But like the second that you start opening up more than 3 credit cards within a calendar year, then it's like you almost move your credit profile down a tier. Because then it's excessive to lenders at that point. Like why do anyone need to open more than 3 credit cards within a single calendar year? That's excessive to them. And so now you're going to again box yourself in. Premium cards are typically like specific hotel cards, travel cards, and you see the list. And then invitation only cards, you have to be invited to apply for those. But that's what I was going to ask. So if you've had your starter and your subprime for at least 9 months and you have been reporting a low utilization, no late payments, no new collections or charge-offs or any derogatory events since you've gotten those cards, then you should be getting approved for a mid-tier card. You should be able to be approved for a mid-tier card. And if you're not, then you need to determine what utilization is reporting. Because just to remind everyone, your utilization is only counted on your statement date. So you can pay off your card on your due date. You could pay off your entire credit card to 0 or some other time during the month. But if the balance is not reflected below 10% of your limit when your statement date arrives, then it doesn't count. It doesn't count because the balance that you have on your credit card on your statement date, which is the last day of the billing cycle, the day that the billing cycle closes, that's the balance that's sent to the credit bureaus. So if you ever want to determine when your statement date is, just look at one of your credit card statements. It'll show you a range, billing cycle. The last day of that billing cycle is your statement date. Now, keep in mind, months change, the amount of days in a month change. So I always give myself a little cushion of 2 to 3 days from that date. So because it'll vary, if you're in February and if you're in March or whatever the case may be, then it'll vary, right? So just know when it is or the week that it is, and just ensure that your balance is below 10% of your limit, okay? And then for the short-term installments, here's a list of short-term installments that typically approve people regardless of credit score. And by the way, even if I don't care if you have an 800 credit score, if you have not had a short-term installment reporting actively on your credit report within the last 3 years, then your borrowing power still is affected by that. Okay. So again, scores, your credit score is not what determines if you're approved or even what you're approved for. Lenders can care less about your score. Most lenders will toss our credit scores out the window and assign us a internal credit score anyway, because that's based off what our credit profile tells them, the story of our credit profile, not authorized user accounts, right? Like though they make about studies show 7 to 10% difference now, because they certainly aren't making as big of an impact as they used to. As it stands, most companies are omitting. They outright said they're omitting authorized user accounts, especially if it doesn't appear as an obvious relation, right? So if y'all don't have the same address, the same last name, or something like that, if the system thinks that it's a stranger and you bought your way onto that card, they'll automatically omit it. So you'll see it on your credit report, you'll see it on your credit monitoring app, but when you apply for something, lenders they automatically omit it, so you're not being credited for it. So it's literally no point. It's a waste of money unless it's, again, like your family. So self money lying is another one. If you are a member of a credit union, pretty much every bank and credit union offers some form of a credit builder loan, and that's all a short-term installment is, guys, is a credit builder loan. Okay. So yeah, here are a few options. Credit Strong, Republic Bank, again, your local bank or credit union. Self is a really good one. Money Lion. Yeah, y'all see the list. All right. So I hope that answered the few questions that I saw regarding that. Let me refresh the group. My bad. Let me refresh. My internet's slow tonight. Is it true mortgage lenders don't count debts that have less than 10 payments remaining towards your debt to income ratio? Yes. So remember when I said when your loan, when an installment on your credit report is less than has less than 10% remaining. So that's the same principle. If you have less than 10 payments remaining, then they'll go ahead and omit it from your debt to income ratio, and also it boosts your mortgage score. So to answer your question, yes. Oh, ask Shonda. So paying your cars on time and keeping a low utilization between 1% and 9% doesn't build your credit alone. Having a 660, I was reporting a 30%. I want to get to a 750. I have 5 credit cards, a student loan current. So paying your credit cards on time and keeping a low utilization doesn't build your credit alone. No, it doesn't build it alone. Because again, there are 5 categories to our credit profiles. 5. So in order to be building the best credit, and yes, you are building credit with even 2 accounts, or you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you are still building credit. So I don't want to discount that. But I'm assuming you're asking me because you want the best results. You want to improve your borrowing power to the best of your ability. And if that is the case, then yeah, you will still be building credit by just reporting, like, for example, a 30% or paying your bills on time. But what'll happen is your credit score is never going to be maximum. Like, you'll never get 750 by doing the bare minimum. And most lenders consider paying 30% as the bare minimum. Not even just lenders. How our credit scores are calculated, literally credit utilization. I just had, actually, let me just show you, because I like for you guys to see it so that you know why you're doing what you're doing. Because I don't know about y'all, it's just like, you can tell me what to do, but like, if you don't tell me why, then I'm still just as lost, right? Is this what I wanted? Okay, yeah, this is what I wanted to show. So this is credit utilization, right? And so you asked about 30%. If you look at this chart, 30% is right here, which is literally the bare minimum. I say this an analogy a lot, but that's because it just makes the most sense for me. Reporting a 30% is the same as getting a C in class. So like, no, you're not failing the class, and you're also not at the top of your class. You're kind of just floating by. You're right in the middle, and you're like on par, you're average. That is exactly what a 30% is. It's literally you doing the bare minimum as a consumer in order to not be considered extremely risky. But the truth of the matter is 30% is still risky. It's just not extremely risky, right? 30% is literally okay. And the unfortunate thing about that is, if you have anything else wrong with your credit profile, so let's just say you're not meeting the requirements for a proper credit mix. Maybe you've had late payments. Maybe you have collections in the past. Maybe you've had a charge off or whatever, any derogatory event in the past. And then you're reporting a 30%, then you're just reporting an okay utilization, that it just makes it worse, right? So a 30% can, I guess, technically be okay if you're hitting everything else perfectly. Like, I'm talking nothing else wrong with your account. You have a great credit age and a great average credit age, and everything else on your credit profile is meeting the most optimal level, and then you're reporting at 30%. You still gonna be leaving about 60 to 70 points on the floor, on the table. However, you can kind of have a little more breathing room when it comes to that. But even still, I wouldn't recommend it, right? Like, that's just an example. Let me be clear. Anytime you report a 30% utilization, you're leaving about 60 to 70 points on the table, literally, because our credit utilization lends to up to 165 points. Right here. So we only get 550 points. That's all. That's it. The lowest credit score that we can have is a 300, and then the highest credit score that we can have is an 850. So that only gives us 550 points that we're able to either lose or gain, right? So obviously the goal is to get as many of those points as possible. Those 550 points are broken down into these 5 categories, which is payment history. It takes 192.5 of those 550 points. Amounts owed, which is utilization, that takes 165 of those 550 points. Credit age allots 82.5 points to those 550 points, and then hard increase and then credit mix both equate to 55 each of those 550 points. because you add all of those together, it'll give you 550 points. You want to get as many of those points as possible so you can be as close to 850 as possible. So if you're stuck at 660, it's because you're reporting a 30% utilization. That's an average. 660 is considered average. Well, actually now it's technically considered under average credit score. But that's reflective of the utilization that you're reporting. So in order to maximize your credit utilization points, then you want to ensure that your utilization is under 90%. And then right before application I said under 90%, Jesus, between 1% and 9%. Let me be clear. But before application, if you lower it just a tad bit more to between 1% and 3%, then you're getting pretty much all of those points. Pretty much. In terms of payment history, in order to get all of those points, you need at least 500 reported payments on your credit profile. And then you can't have more than a 99% payment history rating. So yeah. So that's to answer your question. And by the way, in order to get all the points for credit age, you need to have at least a 10-year average credit age. In order to get all the points for increase, you can't have more than 3 credit card inquiries within the last year, within the last 12 months, because inquiries stop affecting our credit scores after 12 months. So though they're still on our credit reports, they don't affect our credit scores. Here's a great chart that I recommend just kind of like to have. So to screenshot, just so you can see where for each category, you can see the limit. Like if you want excellent credit, then for credit card utilization, you know to stay between under 90%. If you just want good, then you can pretty much skate by between 10 and 29%. Fair, I don't gotta keep, And then payment history, 100% is excellent, 99% is good, and so forth. Derogatory accounts, even one derogatory account automatically moves this category to fair. So obviously a derogatory account can never be considered good. So even the presence of one, you automatically are moved down to fair. Again, the age of your credit report at 10 years, you're getting all of those points. And then your total accounts. I want to remake this chart to put credit mix, because credit mix, as long as you're hitting that profile, as long as you're hitting an account that aids to each category, which is the profile that I was recommending for you guys, then you're getting all of those points. And then again, more than 3 inquiries. So again, this is the profile that will become like the foundation of your score for the next 7 years. And then also it'll put you in the best position to get as many, if not all of those points as possible, because obviously it will depend on what else is going on your credit profile. That'll determine how many more of those points you're getting. But if you have at least these, then you are getting as many as you possibly can based on what's currently on your credit report. Like you cannot go wrong with this credit profile. It's super basic, but it hits every single one of those categories perfectly. I would also, just one more thing, and I'll be done with this because I wasn't really supposed to be teaching tonight. But I would also go. I would also just state this: any person who's hesitant, I guess, or just maybe you don't understand the importance of this, because again, it just looks basic, especially if you're an experienced credit borrower. What I would challenge you guys to do is to ensure that you're hitting these boxes, checking these boxes for at least I'll say 5 months, at least 5 months, and come back to my live. I'll still be doing live videos. Come back to my live and tell me what your borrowing power has been, how your borrowing power has improved. And the only way you're able to see how much your borrowing power has improved is within your applications. Are you immediately getting approved? And if you are immediately getting approved, aren't you getting approved for more than you ever have before? The credit limits that are you when you request a credit limit increase, you're getting it. Not only are you getting it, but your credit limits are increasing way more than they ever have. You're getting multiple credit limit increases in a year, because it should never be a 12-month calendar year that passes and you don't get an increase on your credit cards. Whole nother subject. But again, this is chef's kiss for borrowing power. Like when I tell you guys, I promise you, just listen. Like I always say, don't ever take my word for it. I could just be on here capping. I could have a 300 credit score and just be on here capping in front of y'all. I want you to do it. Like, I want you to actually mirror this and then tell me if it helps or not. If it helps or not. You know? Hold on. Yeah, I am still looking at those. I just haven't refreshed it. All right, so I'm gonna do like, what time is it? I'm gonna do the 10 o'clock. Okay, so we got 20 more minutes. So you said if you had a recommended credit, oh, you already answered that. I owed my bank $5K. They sent me a judgment court letter trying to sue me. I didn't show up to court because I forgot what day it was. They added interest to the balance, making it 10K. How do I handle this? So unfortunately, a judge has the final say in terms of debt. So when it goes to the court, the credit bureaus don't have any say so over it. So even if you do challenge the account with the credit bureaus, that still wouldn't affect the judgment in any way. So whatever amount that you have to pay them, it would not like be affected by your credit bureau disputes because they're separate. The only thing that you can do is try to I forgot what the exact letter is called, but it's a motion to I don't want to quote the wrong thing. But I will contact the courthouse, your local court, and ask if you're able to did you say you missed the court date? I think you said you missed the court date. Ask them if you're able to if they're able to retry your case. Because yeah, the judge has the final say. No one can can change that. Should I take any action on this since it's affecting me? Action. Okay, charge off account. The date of last activity is blank. The date of first delinquency is September of 2018. The delinquency was first reported. Hold on. The delinquency was first reported what is that? July of 2020. Account opened September of 2017. The credit limit was 900 in charge off. Hold on, child. I'm trying to picture it in my head. Okay, the DOLA date is blank. That's a problem already. Your DOLA date is blank, meaning the date of last activity. That's an issue because that determines how long that account stays within the statute of limitations, so how long they can sue you. But your date of first delinquency is 2018. Ain't that 7 years? That's what really threw me off. What is that, y'all? If her date of first delinquency is September of 2018, that would make September this year 7 years? Or am I tweaking? Is it 6 years or 7? That was, I think, yeah. Hold on. It's 2025, so that's September of this year. Do not touch that account. Don't touch that account, Mina. Am I right, y'all? I want to make sure I'm not. Is it 6? So September of 2025 is 7 years from September of 2028 or 18. Okay, yeah. Mina, do not touch that account. You have what? It's 8. You have 5 months. You might can get an early exclusion on that account. Actually, I would send the early exclusion letter. I would send the early exclusion letter to all 3 credit bureaus. Equifax is going to ignore you because that's just them. TransUnion might grant you it, and then Experian is usually the best with early exclusions. Send the early exclusion letter. Do not challenge the DOLA date. I don't even care if it's blank. I don't care. Please don't challenge it. You're going to re-age the account. Potentially, you're going to re-age the account, and then, especially if you still have a balance on that account, don't do it. Don't do it. You got about 6 months. Not even. Yeah, about 6 months. What's the biggest difference between self and kickoff? I've only used self. They are competitors, so they're essentially like almost the same. They pretty much offer the same thing. The only reason why I like self a little better is because unless kickoff has recently changed, but like self will give you the loan, the short-term installment, but then they also have the credit cards. So they also have secure cards, and then on top of that, they also do the rent reporting for free now. So they just kind of give you a little more now. Kickoff may also offer that. I haven't recently looked at their website, but they're one and the same, basically. sleepy child. Let me see. How do we calculate the points needed in each category to get the number of points? Hold on. How do we calculate the points needed in each category to get the number of points to get the maximum? Oh, that's what you're saying. I'm like, am I reading wrong? So just her screenshot this, because this will give you the best. Oh, snaps. I'll be thinking I'm sharing my screen. This will give you the best calculation. And let me move your thing. And obviously, you're never going to be able to calculate it down to the exact point. Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, technically, but like there's no point in doing it. Just ensure that you are in an excellent category on all of these, and then you know that you're getting most, if not all, right? Like 99 or 95% of it, if not all. My dang on lip gloss, child. I have original accounts that were sent. Oh, I was supposed to answer a credit academy. Let me finish this. I have original accounts that were sent to collections but are still showing on my credit report. Should I challenge those? I have original accounts that were sent. So the accounts were charged off and then they were sold to a collection agency. Is that what you're saying? But I believe that's what you're saying. And if that is what you're saying, should I challenge those? So yeah. So even if you get the collection removed, the charged off account is completely independent of that collection. So you'll still have to either challenge that charged off account, or I was gonna say settle it. But if they sold it to a collection agency, then it should not have a balance. How old is it? Because that really matters. That really makes a difference, especially when we challenge and charged off accounts. How old is the account? Should I take any action? Oh, hold on. Oh, I just answered that. Okay. You used to have a list of did I ever pull that up? I pulled the Goodwill creditors up, right? All right. On a previous webinar, I saw that you stated not to send your dispute reason on the first letter, and that we should ask the urgency. We should ask the agency to review the account. On the letter that was generated for me, it acknowledged that TransUnion reported the missed payments. Is that okay for round one? So Steve, you're OG, I could tell. Yes, you are correct. But to answer your question, yes, you are completely able to come outright with the with the specific disputes, with the factual disputes. That's what I was thinking of, the factual disputes, because Credit Academy focuses on Metro 2. And in that scenario, then it does not always require, depending on what you are disputing. In your case, it's the payments. Then you can come out right with it. You don't have to do can you investigate it? No. When it's Metro 2 and it has to do with payment history and balance, those are the two categories that does not require the preliminary rounds as I used to recommend. And also another big reason why I used to recommend that more, and I still recommend it for anyone doing DIYs, because not a lot of people know how to read their credit report or even identify any Metro 2 discrepancies. So they'll come out the gate with a factual dispute, but they don't properly know how to follow up on it. And it's hard to do when the letters aren't custom. And so with Credit Academy, they are custom and they are tailored to your profile, and they're not just a blanket dispute. Because the last thing you want is to dispute something factually and then follow up with a blanket dispute, because that cancels out your factual dispute. Let me see. Would you ever look at our individual reports and recommend steps to do, since you can see our reports on Credit Academy like a one by one? I don't take one-on-one clients anymore. But I will say I have been thinking of a way, and child, I don't have all the details worked out. So I'm hesitant to say it, but I have been thinking about a way, like within the group, within VIP, to do like two, like pick, do some sort of giveaway. I don't know what the contest will be. I don't have the details figured out, but like some type of contest or whatever the case may be, and then two members, two to four, depending, will win that one-on-one every month. So I haven't worked it out yet, but I do think that that'll be cool. I do think that will be cool. Okay, before I started, oh, I just answered that. Let me see. I have a timeshare. Why is that so small? I have a timeshare that is repoed, but on Equifax is under a different company that hold on. I feel like I'm going blind. All right. So I have a timeshare that is repoed, but on Equifax it's under a different company than Experian. And Experian has a different contact number. Should I dispute it? The account is 1 year old. I have a timeshare that is repoed, but on Experian is under the I'm confused, Lorenzo. So you say when you say under a different company, is it is it charged? I mean, you said it was repo. So when you say under a different company, that's the part that's throwing me off. Is it a charged off account and then they sent it to collection? That's what it sounds like, but I don't know based on your wording. Give me a little more information because I'm confused when you say under a different company. The only thing I am assuming is they sold they sold it to a collection agency, and so it's reporting as a charge off under the original creditor who you got the timeshare with, and then they sold it to a collection agency or a debt buyer, and then it's also reporting under them. But in whatever case, you need to ensure that it's not double jeopardy, and the only way you're able to do that is to look at the balance on both accounts. And if both of them are reporting a balance, then that's automatically double jeopardy, illegal. Only one company is legally able to claim that you owe them for an account at one time, right? So if it was charged off and then they sold it to a collection agency, they have to first zero out the balance on the charged off account and then send it to the collection agency, and then the collection agency assumes the balance. The collection agency assumes the balance, but like the original charge off should say zero. It should say zero, and then it also should say transferred or sold to collection agency. 32. I was gonna say 33. I'm turning 33 this year, guys. Turn 33 in November. Can we challenge a bankruptcy if the courts do? Wait. Can we challenge? Yeah, real quick question that I've been wondering. You know how people do live streams and then like their comments are on the screen? How do people do that? I've always wondered that. Is that something that's only on like Twitch or something? Or can you, I feel like I be seeing YouTubers. I don't know what program they're using. I use StreamYard and I don't see an option to do it. But how do people have the comments? Like, you know how the comments are run, like, for example, like right here. How the heck do I do that? Please, somebody tell me. I know somebody gotta know. Let me finish answering this. Can we challenge a bankruptcy if the courts do not verify directly to the credit bureaus nor LexisNexis? You could challenge your bankruptcy even if that were not the case, because that's just facts. The courts can't communicate directly with the credit bureaus. On behalf of your bankruptcy, I was about to show some, but I remembered that I wasn't on my right computer, but I do think I may still have it. Let me see. Let's see. Dang, I was gonna show you. So when it comes to bankruptcies, you first want to challenge the third party reporting agency that's reporting it, because as you stated, the courts don't send the information directly to the credit bureaus, and that used to be a really good challenge, but challenging that directly isn't really fruitful anymore because they don't use the court for that. They have these third party companies that comes in and supplies them with that information, and so that's who you need to challenge. You need to cut it off at the source, and in that case, the source is the credit bureaus. I mean, not the credit bureaus. The source is these third party bureaus, and I'll show you exactly which ones it is for bankruptcies. All right, so anybody who has a bankruptcy and you are wanting to, where is it? Am I missing it? Oh, right here. But okay, it's split. All right, so I'm gonna show you this page, and then it's just one other company. So if you have a bankruptcy, the first thing that you need to do is pull all of your third-party reports from these companies. So I don't think y'all can see my mouse, but CoreLogic, Innovis, LexisNexis, and SageStream, which is now owned by LexisNexis, and then ARS, Advanced Resolution Services. Actually, I think ARS just recently closed. So you can potentially count them out the list. I'm gonna leave them on for now until I know if they're still housing the information. But these are the main ones: CoreLogic, Innovis, LexisNexis, and SageStream. And then so what was I saying? Okay, request your credit report from these companies, right? After you request your consumer report from these companies, then you need to determine which ones are reporting your bankruptcy. Okay, because one of them are reporting your bankruptcy to the credit bureaus. And so once you find that out, then you challenge it. You challenge your bankruptcy with the companies. Before you even challenge it with the big three, don't even talk to TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian yet. Because again, they're only reporters. They can only report the information that they receive, and they're never, ever, ever the source. So you first need to cut it off at the source. Challenge it with those third-party bureaus that I just showed you. And then why is this thing not popping up? All right. Okay, so just screenshot this. This is just, I have a full how to dispute a bankruptcy webinar that's free. That's a part of the free open community in Credit Academy. And it also comes with the packet. So this is just this is extremely condensed. I fear it doesn't even tell. This is a condensed version. But if you want specific, I'm gonna show you exactly where it's at. And it's it's a part of the open community. Let me see. Oh shoot, I keep forgetting that I'm not sharing my screen. All right, so for those of you who don't know, let me make sure y'all can see this. All right. So for those of you who don't know, this is the community. So in order to get to what we're looking for, bankruptcy webinar, and again, so we have two parts of our community. We have the open community, which is free for all. And that comes with the neighborhood, which is where the credit cousins hang out. We chat, that's the feed, right? But then we have the learning lab, which comes with many lessons and just different topics that I'll add to that. But what you are looking for, I forgot already, is the replay center. If you go to the replay center, you will see a bunch of webinars, and I would recommend that you watch this one, which is the bankruptcy deep dive, because not only does it come with instructions on how to dispute a bankruptcy, it also addresses how to build post-bankruptcy. And to top it off, it comes with the kit, a free bankruptcy kit. So again, that's a part of the open community. And then VIP members, we have our another section. So it's like, how you go to a club and then you have like a section and then you just gotta have the open floor. That's basically Credit Academy. But it's still a lot in there, even as a part of the open community. Whatever. Anybody who wants to join the open community, let me put the link in the chat. And if you want to sign up, I'll put both of them. Give me a second, okay? All right, where we at? I'm putting it in the chat, but I'm not gonna be able to put it on the screen because it's long, as you can see. So it's on the chat. It's in the chat. You okay, Kobe? Click that, or I'm trying to pin it. I hope y'all can see that. Click that to join the open community, and then if you want to become a VIP, then you will go to this link, which is member.road750.net. Kobe, he ain't gonna go to his cage until I get out this living room. All right, so I'm gonna answer 3 more questions, and then I gotta get off here, y'all. And then what else do we have coming up? Let me see. So this week we have, and by the way, another part of the open community is the events hub. You go to the events hub, you'll see upcoming webinars. So this is where we're on now. But then, Friday, we have Faith and Finance Friday. So for any believer out there, if you want to learn how to align your finances with your faith, and also potentially see where you've gone wrong in terms of financially, come join us Friday. And then we have Webinar Wednesday, which is obviously every Wednesday, and all of that. Okay. I'm actually really tired of talking. I've gotten to the point where I'm tired of talking, so I'm gonna answer 3 more questions because I said I would. I was, and then I'm gonna have to go. All right, so I'm not sure what's going on, but I received I think I answered. Yeah, I did answer that. It's like continuing to take me back. I'm gonna answer 2 VIP and then I'm gonna answer 1 on YouTube. Can you show the who? The third party? What I show? I done forgot that fast. But by the way, everything that I've shown her tonight, if you're in the community, so you can download like the actual the webinar that went along with the presentation and also the presentation. You can download the whole thing if you go to member files. But if you tell me the slide that you're referring to, then yeah, I can go back to it. I just don't remember. And you said that an hour ago, so I don't even remember. Oh yeah, let me just do a member shout out real quick. Yeah, I'm so dang on tired. Auntie is tired. All right, let me shout out a few of our members. Shout out to Don Smith, less than a month, been a VIP member. Oh, I didn't even see that, period. 82 increase on TransUnion, 69-point increase on Experian, and then 32 on Equifax, 1 month of sending his dispute letters with our dispute portal, which customizes letter based on your credit report, comes with credit monitoring. You get access to exclusive webinars and a lot of things that's coming up as well, but also like Ask Shonda, live Q&As, and all of that. You get free entry into all of my webinars that I do. A part of the open community, you'll have some webinars, but majority of them is for the VIP experience. Things like this, like live Q&As and stuff like that, those are generally like open. What else? What was I going to do? I mean, what else I was going to say? Let's see. Wait, I didn't even see it. Who is this? Shout out to Beverly. She got a few points increase. Zilia, my credit has officially increased 100 points within the last 6 months. Shout out to you. Student loan deleted round 1. Who is that? Sarita. Shout out to Sarita, who got her student 35K removed. Finally opened the door to the 750 club. Shout out to Martina. You made the 750 club. I haven't walked completely through yet. I'm at the door. Okay. So okay, you at 746. Got it. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. I disappeared. I disappeared for a while, but I'm ready to make sure all my ducks are in the row. I contacted several third-party bureaus. I don't know what that. Maybe she posted that in the wrong area. Shonda's method works, not applying for any more credit, but I've been working on getting a credit limit increase on my 4 credit cards. Received them with Citi. Oh, shout out to Akia and her credit union. So shout out to Akia, 2 credit limit increases. Oh, yeah, I probably should have showed that. Here, for anybody who's watching this, just screenshot this. So anybody who want to know how to best set up your credit profile and how to best use your credit cards if you are trying to get a credit limit increase on your credit cards, then this is we did an entire webinar for that. But I have a recommended transaction limit for each credit card depending on the limit, and to repeat this for at least 3 billing cycles, so for 90 days before you ask for a credit limit increase. And it'll put you in the best case scenario to get a credit limit increase. This is how I am I get multiple credit limit increases every year, and you should as well. No point in having a credit card if they're not increasing it. But yeah, so here's that's a good screenshot of key. I thought it was on the top. So here are my credit limit increase tips that I recommend to anyone. I'm trying to move this out the way. So this is the transactions, which is per billing cycle, per credit card, per the ones that you're trying to get an increase on. Pay your balances to under 10%. So what we were talking about today, have at least 1 recurring charge on your credit card, which brings up my last point. If you have subscriptions or any auto charge that's coming out of your bank account and you have a credit card, change it, please, like next month. Make sure that you are placing all of your subscriptions on your credit card. That is a wasted opportunity, because when it comes to credit limit increases and when it comes to setting up your profile, lenders love to see recurring charges and they love to see auto pay. You only need to set up your auto pay for at least the minimum. Like, you don't have to do the full amount. I know some people kind of get a little, scared for that or whatever, and I feel you, because I used to as well. However, you just need the minimum. You just need to set it auto pay up for at least the minimum. Most of the times you'll probably pay it before then anyway. So then by the time your auto pay date comes, then they're not even taking nothing. But just have it set up, because it lenders love that. Lenders love that, girl. But yeah, shout out to those members. All right, let me get 2 more questions. Who's Creddy? How do I get into the VIP chat? We Ask Shonda. If you go to the Ask Shonda, if you go to the inner circle space and then go under the Ask Shonda. Can you come back live tomorrow? I am just getting off work and I always miss your lives. What's tomorrow? Thursday. I could potentially actually come back live tomorrow, Thursday. It'll be late though, after my son practice. All right, last question. I heard that a closed account stays on your credit report for 10 years and is factored into your average age of account. I recall you didn't want to close an old CC that had a low limit. Is there a reason for that? So that is the reason for that. My first credit card, which is still probably at about like $250, I believe, I will never close that card. I don't care if it ever gets a credit limit increase, because I want that card for the age. What it adds to my credit age is enough for me. But to answer your first question, which is, I heard that a closed account stays on your report for 10 years. Depending on what type of account it is, yes, it could stay on your report for up to 10 years. If it's derogatory though, then there's a 7-year max. If the account is good, then yes, it can stay for up to 10 years. All right. Why not have credit union credit cards? I love credit union credit cards. I love credit union credit cards. All right. Will you be running another discount to the academy? I missed the last one. No, that was our, no, I don't ever actually run discounts on Credit Academy. That was just that one time case because we opened up the new community. So it was like a big celebration. But no, only because of how much that, number one, that membership costs and how much it's worth. I just can't do it. But it is worth it though. And it is no contract. You can cancel anytime. But no, I'm not doing specials on the membership. I'm sorry. You missed it. Dang, it was last month or like maybe 2 months ago at this point. All right. So yeah, like I said, I may be able to come back live tomorrow. Maybe during the day. I don't know, but I will maybe like around like 8:30. So if you're still up and you still have any questions, especially VIP, I will always prioritize the VIP members' questions. And hopefully tomorrow I'm back in my film room so we can kind of, have a little flow or whatever. But yes, I am signing out for tonight, guys. I pray that you guys sleep well. I pray that you are well in general, but make sure you guys tune into Faith and Finance Fridays. It's already on the YouTube page, so you can go and RSVP to it or like click notify or whatever. And then I will see you guys next time. All right, bye. This replay will be available by the morning. So just let it process and then you can use the same link to rewatch it. Okay. All right, bye. Good night. You guys have an amazing night or amazing evening. Bye.